All right, good to go. Hello, everyone. Brandon Paradosky here from Students Against Mandates. I'm also here with another member from SAM, Sheldon Monroe. And we have the amazing opportunity of speaking with Kamil Bachouchi today. Hopefully I said that right. A student at Wilfrid Laurier University who recently went viral over a tweet. So without further ado, Camille, just tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and your schooling before we get into things.
So I'm Camille. Nice to meet you guys. I'm a fourth year philosophy major at Wilfrid Laurier University. Um, I I don't really know where to go with this. I'm an econ and a poli-sci minor. I don't know. I'm interested in sports, politics, investing, amongst a few things. But yeah, I recently got put under a little bit of a spotlight with my quasi protest of the mask mandates that are being seen at Wilfrid Laurier University. And I don't know, I guess I've gotten a bunch of support because there's a lot of like-minded individuals that don't like the idea of being forced to throw on a mask when I guess we know that there's not too much efficacy behind the whole thing in terms of the transmission of it, of the virus.
Mm-hmm. So to jump into some questions there, take us back, if you don't mind, to a little bit of an overview on the actual vaccine mandates that have occurred over the past two years now, I guess, a year and a half probably, at Wilfrid Laurier. Can you take us through a bit of the history there and what occurred?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I was this all started when I was in my first year, around I guess March it was. We all got sent home because of the novel coronavirus that broke out. We finished everything online for that semester. I ended up continuing doing courses online because everything, I guess, I could just stay at home, have my mom cook for me and take care of me. But everything was online for my second year as well. Everything was online. As far as I'm concerned, there's no courses being offered in person. I'm not sure about res and all that, but I would assume that res was open. Not sure. So second year, there's just no in-person courses. And then going into last year, my third year, we were told that everything was gonna be in person. As the notion of vaccine mandation, of forcing the students to get vaccinated in order to be able to go to school there, was not expressed by the school, the administration of Laurier. So I guess without thinking about it too hard, and registered for my courses, went to school in September, and everything was seemingly normal. There was a mask mandate for sure. Again, I decided not to I guess follow through with their request of the whole masking. And near the end of September, something to know actually about Laurier. So for the tuition that we pay, I forget what day exactly, but around the end of September, 55% of the tuition is non-refundable, or 45. I will say half the tuition is just non-refundable if you decide to drop courses. Shortly after that, about a week after, half the tuition is non-refundable. We were informed by the administration of the school that there would be proof of vaccination in order to be enrolled at the school. That was a bit problematic for me. So I wasn't willing to disclose my vaccination status with the school. I feel like that's my private medical information. I don't think they're privy to any of that. I guess they don't request 95% of your personal medical information. But your COVID vaccination status was, I guess, at the forefront of their concerns. So I was I guess unconsensual, against my will, unenrolled, and I obviously I'd spoken to teachers and administration, and there's allegedly nothing they could do. It was quote unquote the provincial government, and it definitely wasn't their doing whatsoever. So I was unenrolled from my courses. I was lucky enough to have been a year ahead because of the summer courses I'd taken during COVID. So I guess the decision was made a bit easier for me in terms of being willing to sacrifice, or I guess to be more willing to have a year of my life, of my education, stolen from me. I wouldn't say sacrifice, because it wasn't exactly my decision. But yeah, so I got unenrolled, and after a long debate with I guess the dean of student affairs, I won't say his name, I guess, just to stay out of trouble with the school, but I was refunded my 55, my half that they had refused to refund me for months, around December, because I'd threatened legal action. I guess they didn't want to deal with that. But amongst all the unvaccinated students that I'd spoken to, obviously we had kind of reunited, formed a sort of like an online group to discuss our options, see if we could pursue any legal action. We were told by the lawyers we had spoken to that there's basically nothing we could do, because the provincial government had given the power to the school to do what they pleased, basically. So there was basically there was no recourse for us. But I got my money back, and the other kids that hadn't, I guess, threatened the school with legal action just remained, just had half their money stolen from them, basically.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. And the vaccination mandates continued throughout the winter semester, the second semester, and I want to say I would make no sense for the summer to not have counted, but I'm not too sure about the summer.
Yeah. And then that leads us into September, which of this year, of our fall semester. And so therefore now no vaccine mandate per se, but there's a masking mandate still in place. That's correct?
Yeah. So we were informed about the mask mandate again right before school started, similar to what Western did, which is obviously that it kind of sickens me. It's absurd how they informed these students like a week or two before school actually started that the unvaccinated students weren't allowed to go to school. And obviously it's too late to transfer, find alternative possibilities at that point. But yeah, we were informed not too long before school started that the masks were going to be, or there's going to be a mask mandate in place at Laurier for first semester. And again, logical deduction would lead me to believe that second semester is going to be the same thing, because of this whole the flu. Apparently the flu is back now. It disappeared, but the flu is back. So masks are necessary. But yeah, we were informed that there would be mask mandates, which I don't know. I was shocked at. From day one, and I'd spoken to my parents about this, like obviously seeking advice from people that might be less emotionally invested in this whole thing. But I thank them so much. Like they've given me tons of support. Having a boisterous child like me is probably not the easiest thing in the world, but they had my back when I told them that I couldn't do it. I wasn't gonna do the masks, and I wasn't gonna argue with my teachers. I was just gonna try and reason with them. So basically first day of classes, you walk into class, everyone's wearing a mask, and then I walk in, nothing on my face, no intention to put one on. And my teachers didn't really say anything. I was asked, and so in my 5 classes, in 4 of them, I was asked to put a mask on, and I told them, look, like I can't do it. Like I refuse to. I don't see why I should have to. It just doesn't make sense. There's no scientific, there's no logical, and there's no ethical I guess reason or yeah, no reason for me to put one on. If it's just because you want me to put one on because you were told by someone that I need to put one on, that's not going to be enough for me. the from 80% of my teachers, that was enough. And I was happy to see the next class, the guys I was sitting with, no mask. A week later, you look around, see kids around the class not wearing one. 2 weeks later, half the class isn't wearing one, and now you have a select few kids that are wearing the masks. With
Wow.
even though they know that they don't have to in those classes. This is a bit different with the one class. So what we've seen on Twitter, but yeah, this teacher from day one basically threatened physical removal and unenrollment from the course had if without any if you don't wear a mask in her class, which is for me like it's not the way to go about things. If and especially in the philosophy department, I mean, you should be able to reason, at least explain to the students why this is in place. If the admin has done so ineffectively, or just not at all done so. But yeah, this one teacher just wouldn't budge. So reluctantly, like at the end of the day, I need to graduate. I need to, like, I want to go to law school after this. My mind, despite my debate with the necessity or the necessity of the piece of paper that they're going to give me, I still do need it at the end of the day. So I threw the mask on, folded it in half, put it over my mouth and my nose like this, and I guess just gave her a hard time every time something came up. But yeah, at the end of the day, I need to graduate. So yeah,
go ahead. Keep going. Finish off.
No, yeah, I was gonna say in September, like, I guess I hadn't had enough yet. I had never worn the mask really. Like, I was the guy in the TTC that would refuse to wear one, argue with 5 random strangers that tell me to put a mask on, and I look at them like, who are you? Like, you're not my mom or my dad. Don't tell me what to do. Or like, I've never really worn one. So I guess I wasn't fed up with the idea of wearing one. I thought, okay, screw it. Like, it's not the end of the world. But yeah, I guess that changed pretty quickly.
So you're the one student in the entire room not wearing it off the beginning. Do you think that changed students' minds who were already thinking, like, I don't really want to wear this mask, it's uncomfortable, but I'm just doing it because someone's telling me to do it? Do you think that changed other people's minds?
100%. You could see the domino effect right off the bat. Like, the guys I would sit with, the guys I would sit next to, I guess, walked in with the mask, and right off the bat, like, ask me, hey, like, why are you not wearing a mask? And I'd point blank, because I don't have to. And that's the thing. It's what you're told to do is different from your duties or your rights or maybe your contractual duties in certain situations. But wearing a mask is unheard of and shouldn't be heard of. It should not be a thing. Especially not mandated, not forceful, not a forceful mask mandate. That's it. Like, the threat of physical removal from the class is crazy to me. It's dystopian almost, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it did create a domino. Sorry, I lost my train of thought.
Yeah.
I think it definitely created a domino effect. I mean, you look at, in one of my classes, I think one person wears a mask. In another one of my courses, in one of my larger, like, I guess, lecture hall courses, you see, like, people around the room, but 95% of the class isn't wearing a mask. In a class, in my logic class that has, like, tables, there's one table where everyone wears a mask, and I guess all the mask wearers somehow, like, reunited went to this one table to sit together. But yeah, like, it definitely created a domino effect. I mean, in all my classes, everyone was wearing one on the first day, because I guess they didn't know any better. I truly believe people are sick and tired of them, but I think they needed someone to walk in and just say, look, like, enough's enough.
Mm-hmm. Have you seen much kind of discussion about this from the administrators saying, hey, there's a lot of students in our classes who aren't wearing masks? Because the official policy is stated that you can be removed, you can face fines, you can be deregistered. So it's interesting to hear that there's this there's such a kind of a large rebellion against the mandates when, are all the students quite aware that they can still face these punishments and still doing it while knowing that?
I think students, and I think that's the fear behind it. And I think that it definitely plays into it. People or the students don't want to they want to finish school, right? They want to move on with their lives or continue their lives, grow their lives, do whatever they can to find success. And if they see school as being one of the things on their checklist, they're going to do whatever it takes to accomplish that, right? Or to finish up at Laurier. And honestly, I don't blame them. As much as I would want them to fight, stand up, and do what I'm doing. I don't necessarily blame them. Like I see where all my buddies are coming from. Like most of my buddies just wear masks in their classes, whether they're told or not, out of a lack of the fear of not a fear of confrontation, but a lack of desire to have any confrontation. Like they want to avoid any sort of discussion or debate regarding the mask, so they just throw it on. And I don't know how many students there were in other classes like that, but in my class, I've seen a positive response. Like the students, especially in the first week, I had classmates coming up to me after class saying, "Hey, like I appreciate that. Like I thought I was gonna have to wear this mask the entire semester." Like, and it obviously it feels good. Like everyone likes a compliment, right? But yeah, I do think that the majority. I don't want to say the majority, I do think that the majority of the students don't want to put these masks on there and they're tired of it. They don't necessarily see another way around it. They don't realize the possibility or the power that the students have as a united body. I mean, you can look in the past, right? Like student protests this is the first kind of student protest. And the power that we have is crazy. I mean, we're the ones keeping the lights on in there. We're paying the teachers. We're funneling money into the dean's pocket. The power should be with the students, and for some reason, the power has been shifted over to the administration over the past decade or so. I don't know how long this has been going on, but I mean, I see the power that the students hold, and if we can somehow find a way to stand together on this, there's not too many ridiculous things that the administration can enforce. I mean, it's not like I'm going to school saying I want to walk in naked, right? All I'm saying is I don't want to wear a mask, right? It's I don't know.
So in my mind, you essentially had the boldness to say no, and that gave all these other students the courage to take it off, as you're saying, with the lecture hall and so many students who essentially defaulted to wearing no mask. It seems like that's actually what most students sort of default to if there's not this social pressure and whatever. But just to give some context, so the University of Manitoba, my university, still has the masking mandate, and the default for students is everyone's got the mask on, and it's pretty silent about talking about the masks or whatever, even though the entire province of Manitoba has no masking mandate. The University of Winnipeg has no masking mandate, so that's the other large university in Manitoba, and other colleges also don't have any masking mandate. So it's sort of just this isolated island where we come to the University of Manitoba, put our masks on, act like this is normal, and then we all disperse from the University of Manitoba, walk about our daily lives, and take them off. Like if you followed all these students around, it would be hard pressed for me to think everyone's wearing the mask like they do it on campus. And for Sheldon, for instance, the University of Calgary, they also dropped their mask mandates as well a long time ago. And so you haven't had to experience this in a while. But just interesting how the science can change so much just across Canada somehow. These specific areas, you just need to wear a mask, like it's so dangerous in these small spots. But anyway, so let's get into that viral tweet. It had about like 3,000 retweets and like 10,000 likes. So you obviously have some supporters somewhere. So tell us about the tweet and what you did on campus.
Yeah, I just want to say that was a great point. I hadn't really thought about it like that. We just said how we pretend that this is normal all of a sudden once we get to school, and then as soon as we leave school, just take the mask off and act like nothing happened. I thought that it's a great way to put it, right? But as for the tweet, so It's essentially, it is kind of crazy. It's mind blowing to me. Like I wasn't expecting this, or I didn't intended for this to really go viral. I thought it was just I guess a funny way or a good way of protesting these, or of dancing around the red line that they had just drawn onto the ground without any sort of reason. But for me, it was more of a, I was done. So I was, like I said, in September, I wasn't fed up yet. I'd never really worn the mask. I didn't care enough. I just want my degree. At I guess this was what, end of October-ish. I was done. Like I was so fed up with having to wear a mask for no reason. Like I'm not even wearing the thing properly, and that doesn't seem to be an issue. But just me having it on my face, basically abiding by or conforming to the rules that they had just invented. That was that, and it seemed, and I mean, it is my belief that is what they want, but the administration, and I guess without throwing the provincial government under the bus and the federal government, but I mean the administration for sure, they just want to see us say yes without asking why. You know what I mean? So come October, or I guess almost November, I was fed up. I was done. I'd had enough of it. I'd been thinking for a while on what the best way to go about not wearing the mask was. And I think that's the more important thing. It's at least on campus where I can be threatened with physical removal or unenrollment. It's how can I not wear this thing without getting kicked out, getting kicked out altogether? Because that would, again, like I lost a year to these crazy mandates. Losing the 3 years before that is gonna, it would kill me, or not even kill me. It would just be, it'd be gut wrenching, right? Like I don't want to do that. I don't have to go back, and I mean, I don't lose my credits, but I just need to finish. If I'm done this year, I just need to finish. So I've been brainstorming, like talking to buddies, talking to my family on what the best way to go about. I'd seen on, I don't know where, like either Twitter, like funny mask ideas, or not even funny mask ideas, but the masks that people were wearing or were opting to wear when there was mask shortages, especially in third world countries and in places like China, where they're forced to wear the mask, or in the third world countries where they're not, I guess, informed or educated, not educated, but informed by whether it be social media or news, on the ludicrousy behind all these mandates, and the lack of, not only that, but the lack of effectiveness behind these masks. I mean, if we want to talk N95 masks, sure, yeah, like I'm not a scientist, obviously, but I know those definitely work, and there's a reason that people in serious scenarios or settings, they wear those. They don't wear these paper cloth. I don't even know what they're made of. I mean, they don't work. So I'd seen, I don't know, pictures of like people on the subway in China of wearing socks around their face, or off the top of my head, I can't think of any. And it got me thinking, you know what? Let me look at the Laurier masking policy to see exactly what they're requiring. And that's where I found that they ask for a face covering, right? So the word mask is not seen, as far as, I mean, it's called the masking policy, but I don't think that they could legally get around saying mask only. So and obviously you see kids with the bandanas and the bandanas on their face, and I guess their other form of artistic way of expressing themselves via the masks. Interesting way to go about art, but I was thinking, okay, like if I don't have to wear this mask, all I have to do is cover my chin, mouth, and nose. There's got to be something I can do. So and this was like, so I have this class with the teacher that does enforce the mandate. I have that class on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So that's where you guys will be able to see Tuesday and Thursday nights what I get up to in that class. But on this was on a Monday night, right before the Ziploc bag. So I was thinking, okay, like, what do I have in my kitchen here with an empty fridge and empty drawers at school? Okay, I have Ziploc bags. Okay, I went to my room. I have micro USB cables. So I was like, okay, like this could work. And for me in the moment, it was more like, okay, like I'm gonna go to class and this teacher is gonna she's gonna actually see my face, and she's gonna be able to see me smile every time, at least just see my lips move when I talk, bring some humanity back into the class as opposed to just being a bunch of faceless masks. So I poked some holes in this Ziploc bag and put the micro USB cables, whatever, tied a little knot around my ears, and that was the first mask that I had been able to think of on the spot, I guess, right? I wasn't I had time to prepare for the next one, but going to class, like, and this is a small class too. This is it's a third year course, so there's like 20 people in the class, so it's a relatively small class, and I walk in and the reception was, I wouldn't even say it was mixed. It was half the class I think was like more astonished by what I was up to, or what I think it was clear based on 2 months of me at every chance trying to dissect why the teacher has been enforcing these mandates. But the half the class I'd say was more surprised, I guess, and then the other half was completely supportive. And I don't know if, I mean, I probably would have been able to do it again, but it definitely helped in terms of knowing, okay, like I do have some support. So I walk into class with this mask. Instantly my teacher says, Camille, get out, like go get a real mask. And I said, look, professor, like respectfully, no, like why would I have to? Like, she's like, because you're not wearing a mask. Like, so I tell her, I was like, look, like the school says I need a face covering. You telling me I need a mask is not, with all due respect, it doesn't mean anything. It's your personal preference. If you told me to wear a skirt, I would also say no. It's what you want me to do does not reflect what I have to do. And I say this with all the respect. I mean, I was polite when I was saying this. So I was able to actually have a real debate, which is something that I don't think a teacher has had at Laurier with a student for countless years. I mean, they treat a bunch of young adults like they're kids, not only kids, but like they're their own kids. Like they can force you to do what they want. And this was a 5-minute back and forth, and at the end she had to ultimately say, after I explained this is what the school says, look, like she eventually said, okay, I guess, right, my mouth. And she even brought up a point where she's like, oh, there's holes, or there's gaps in your mask. And I looked around at everyone wearing the form-fitted blue mask. Obviously there's holes and there's gaps, and it's hold on, sorry, I'm I'm not alone in this house. But yeah, I looked around and I told my teacher, look, like every student has holes or gaps in their mask, right? It's not this isn't any different just because you don't like the way it looks. It's not, it's functionally it's the same. And ultimately she couldn't say anything. She couldn't call security based on that. And I was able to go through that class. Let me tell you, it was much easier to breathe. The air was flowing perfectly. Getting my oxygen intake was perfect.
Amazing.
That's hilarious. So for anyone listening to this, head over to Camille's Twitter. So at KAM_BACH to see a nice picture of him with a bucket on his head in class. So what were some of the students' reactions to this? Were students like, this is hilarious? Like, were students giving you like a dirty eye? Like, what was going on with that?
Just to add on to that, I mean, it is a philosophy class. Like, you would hope that these kinds of debates do occur in a wide range of subjects and different issues that we face in philosophy. So did that play into maybe potentially there were students who maybe were supportive, were not supportive, or at least were open to the idea of having a discussion about the bucket on your head or the policies on my head?
Yeah, so the bucket was that was a week after, and funny enough, she did not say a word about it. I knew she was gonna have to go through the exact same discussion of it in the exact same way. So there was no discussion about that. I walked in, threw it on my head, sat down. We had a great class. It was a very insightful class. But yeah, to answer your question, the students, and I do think that the fact that it's a philosophy major, I think the students in the philosophy department might you could say think a bit more critically. Like if I don't think, I mean, I'm positive that this wouldn't fly in the political science department at Laurier. I mean, yeah, you should come to one of my classes. You'd find it funny. But yeah, the reaction from my classmates was, like I said, on the first for the Ziploc bag, it was mixed, but not negative. It was mixed as in, what is this guy doing? And then the other side that I obviously speak to, like I don't speak to everyone in my classes, but yeah, they knew what I was up to, or knew that this was my form of silent, or not necessarily silent, but peacefully protesting while maintaining the or still following the guidelines that we had been forced to follow. So yeah, I wouldn't even say it was like a strike. It was just a way of maneuvering around playing the cards I was dealt, right? But yeah, for the bucket, I think it was support, right? And after class, I had 3 or 4 of the kids, and this is a small class, right? 3 or 4 of the students saying, hey, like, we're ready to go to class without a mask. We're ready to call her bluff, and we're ready to say no to these masks. And so obviously that's music to my ears, but I had to like slow it down a bit, because if we can get half the class, 3/4 of the class to do this, there's nothing that can be done. Whereas again, it's Laurier, right? Like they had no problem kicking out, I don't know how many thousand kids because they refused to take an experimental drug. So yeah, kicking 3 or 4 students out, or having them forcefully removed by security, I don't know. And again, I also don't want to talk with the custodial or the administration, the custodial department, or the administration at Laurier, because I don't really want to, I guess, show them my hand, inform them, or I guess if they're not aware of what's going on now, there's something in the chain that's not working. But students had a positive reaction to this, or at least my classmates. They were I think they were happy to see someone finally standing up and saying no, like, and it's not necessarily me walking into class like trying to be a martyr or anything. It's me using using the rules that they set against them, right? It was a way of peacefully protesting this forceful mandate.
And I'm assuming too, just kind of a fun follow-up question, is that there's a bit of an expectation as to what your next mask is going to look like. Like, is there a bit of an anticipation going on? Are you having to think of what mask you're going to wear next now? Now that there's some community behind it.
Yeah, no, it's there's I need to think of how practical it is to wear some of these masks. I've got some good ideas from Twitter, and I've done a bit more I don't know if you could call it research, but I've looked into it a bit more. I have a few ideas. I know I'm gonna be wearing a grapefruit on my face at some point. I'm just gonna cut it in half and hollow it out and just find some elastic bands or something. And I think at some point the grand finale is gonna be a hazmat suit. I think I might have to just buy a full-on hazmat suit and just wear that in class, and we'll see. There's options, but with the support I'm getting, honestly, like it would not shock me that if we can get half the class at least to go to class and say, you know what, we're done, we're not wearing these. At least maybe this is misguided hope, but I am hopeful. Like based on the reaction that I've been getting, students are done. Like we've had enough of these masks, and if you could at least explain to me why, but there's no explanation. We live in a free country. Classrooms were at some point before my life were public forums. The students were paying to be in there. I have charter rights. I have freedoms that need to be respected, and wearing a mask is far from in my mind constitutional. I don't know if that's the right word, but I think it infringes on my right to my basic right to choose, right?
So you're saying there's a ton of students that are now supporting you essentially just for taking that first step to say no. All these students were sort of waiting for someone to give them almost the courage to take it off their face. It sounds ridiculous, but based on what you're saying, it seems to be true. But from my own experience, the University of Manitoba has never provided any evidence, any scientific evidence, medical evidence on their website to support their masking mandate. Rather, it's just, this is the mandate, follow it, protect others, safer campus. So sort of just saying in the way that their ultimate truth. I don't need to provide any backing for it because we just all assume it to be true. So is this also the case at Wilfrid Laurier? Has there been any publications, any scientific evidence to back this masking mandate, or should we just all accept it as automatically true?
That's I think that's what they want, right? No, there's been, as far as I'm concerned, and I have looked into this, there's no justification, no scientific, no logical, and no legal justification. I guess legal, you could say, yeah, the provincial government gave me free reign, but that goes back to the ethical justification. As far as I'm concerned, there's no justification for this, and there's far from scientific. It's just do as you're told, and if you don't want to comply, face the consequences. And
so the university has never came out and said that these are the points, like this is the backing for the policy. They have no publications or anything.
No, no publications. They want to, they say to keep students safe, to keep it's stated on their website. It's almost it's poetic almost, right? It's like to promote the health and safety of students, masks are mandatory. It's like, come on, right? Like this is far, you could argue whatever you want, but I mean, that's not 1 + 1 is 3, and that's in that case, right? It's I think it's a bit fallacious.
Yeah, I guess one perspective could be had that it's a little bit more absurd now that this there's obviously always should be responsibility of the university to uphold the evidence in all manners, moral, scientific, behind any policy, but that it really falls on their shoulders now, or it seems to be, in the sense that they're not be able to really use the provincial mandate as an excuse for having implemented one on campus. I mean, is this adding to talking points in classes? People saying, well, now we really do have to scrutinize the university because there is no provincial mandate for indoor masking.
So I did bring for my classes where the teachers kind of let me do my thing. I brought that up. I said the provincial government doesn't do this. If I walked in here saying I have a medical exemption, I wouldn't even have to prove it, because the provincial government states that all medical exemptions, or no one has to show proof of their medical exemption, regardless of the situation, essentially, right? So I told them, I was like, if I and Laurier says, yeah, if you have a medical exemption, of course we won't force you to wear a mask, but run it through us first, basically for them to have their, I don't know if they're doctors, the administration do their checks on whether it's valid. Or, and again, this was like for the vax mandate. It's like I wrote like a 5-page paper on why my creed did not allow me to get vaccinated. It was not something that I could live with myself afterwards had I gotten vaccinated and sold myself out, and my own beliefs and my own ethical duty to myself. They brush, and in case for those who don't know, creed does not necessarily mean religious beliefs. It means a strongly held belief that defines, I guess, who you are. You could say your identity. I don't know that I would go that far, but it definitely is something that I would believe in. And like I said, I don't know that I could live with myself. I would just be ashamed of myself, right? It's one of those situations where, do I want to look myself in the mirror or do I want to tell my kids, my future kids, that I guess I sold myself out. I wasn't able to stand strong on what I believe in as a free thinking human being, right? I kind of lost my train of thought there. Sorry.
No worries.
No worries. Well said. Yeah.
Sheldon, do you have a question?
No, I was just going to point it over to you there.
So just a follow up here. So one of the response to this tweet that you sent out has about 10,000 likes, whatever. So some person said just wear a mask to protect others. So we've heard that like continually over the last 2-3 years. It's this other thing, this sort of this entity or imagination that someone else is being affected by your own personal choices. With respect to the vaccine mandates, which have now been admitted, New York Supreme Court says the vaccine doesn't stop transmission or infection, so you're not affecting anyone else. So that was the initial basis for the vaccine mandates. And it seems like not too many universities are daring to do that again, but we'll wait and see. So with the masks, again, it's that same sort of idea, do this to protect someone else. So what are your thoughts on that sort of reasoning and logic that you need to do it to protect someone else, even though they're doing what they're telling you to do?
I get what you're saying. It's for me, it's more of I'm not some kind of cynical person, right? Like I want to keep others safe. I want to do my part to no one wants to live in an anarchist society, right? It's peace is great. No harm done is a good thing, right? Like I firmly believe in the rule of law, and I think that's what the rule of law does. It protects people, and my question is who am I protecting and how am I protecting them? That's the thing. Those are the answers that I've been given answers, but not to have like some kind of reductionist mindset here, but we can keep going backwards until from the start. Okay, I'm protecting those who are immunocompromised. Okay, it's that in of itself is I think a bit of a slippery slope, because those who are immunocompromised, without trying to sound, I mean, asymptomatic, it's not just COVID, right? They're immunocompromised for everything, and we lived in a society. I mean, I'm not, unless I'm crazy, I lived in a society where masks weren't being worn for 19 years of my life. You're not going to tell me in these past 2 that me wearing my mask now is going to start saving people. I mean, I firmly believe that we live in a society now that some form of apologist society where victimization is now incentivized, as opposed to like victims are there's an incentive to be a victim instead of a victor, and I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, if we want to go back and look at all the hardships and that everyone has to go through, I mean, yes, immunocompromised people are more at risk of having a severe adverse reaction to COVID-19, but then we can talk about the vaccines, right? If you got vaccinated, if the vaccines work, I won't even say if the vaccines work, then what's wrong? You're vaccinated. I can't pose any harm to you. You're wearing a mask and you're vaccinated. How am I doing you any harm? And it goes back, and I mean, one would say that, oh, this kid knows nothing. He's a philosophy major. Not even that. He just knows nothing. He's not a scientist. And for me, it's like the scientists that had the same opinion as me, or not opinion, the scientists that had proven what my opinion is, they all got fired and ostracized from society, just like Laurier did to me, right? So I don't know that the scientific method is applicable to this situation anymore, right? I mean, 2 sides argue until there is a common ground formed, until there's an objective truth found, and I feel like that we weren't allowed to. Society itself wasn't allowed to come to this objective truth in this situation. But yeah, I would say, look, like, without being too mean, right? Like, I live my life, you live yours. We all have our hardships. You're vaccinated, you wear a mask, you were told all this stuff. I'm not the one causing you harm, and I stand by that. And I don't think anyone doing what I'm doing is causing anyone harm.
Yeah, really, really well said. I have to put that in there. Brandon, any further questions?
Yeah. So what's your future looking like? Are you getting students together, or what are your thoughts for on campus? Because you're opposed to this masking mandate, you want to take it off. Other students are also saying they want to take it off, or slowly taking it off themselves in response to what you're doing. So what's the plans, or what's the future directions? Are you talking to other students, or yeah, let us
Yeah.
know about that.
So I've been in touch with several teachers, actually, professors, tenured professors at Laurier who have the same views as all of us, as well as students, of course, because we need to rally the students together. I've been talking to the unvaccinated students that have, just like me, come back to the school to finish, or I guess to continue their educational pursuits. So yeah, I've been talking to students, profs, I guess you could say advocacy and Twitter that I've gotten in touch with. I'm actually going to be speaking at the Worldwide Rally for Freedom next Saturday in Toronto. But at this point, it's all about spreading awareness. I do believe in our right to protest peacefully, and to have our views broadcasted, right? To have other people see where we're coming from and what we're saying. So at this point, taking the mask off without having widespread support to the school is futile. In my mind, it doesn't achieve what we're trying to achieve, and it doesn't help me necessarily. Not necessarily help me, but it hurts me, right? I have put myself at risk without having even a chance at achieving what we're trying to achieve here, which is getting all these mandates removed, and kind of finding our normal lives again, like finding or coming back to normal, or coming back to reality that we haven't seen over the past few years. But yeah, right now it's just trying to get in touch with as many people as I can, spread the word, talking to my friends, telling them to talk to people in their classes, try and gauge their reactions as well. There will be a protest at school organized. I don't know that this semester would work, just because of the support. I mean, we could have a small protest and hopefully take that into second semester, but yeah, I mean, try and spread awareness right now. Definitely have some kind of protest down the line once there's enough support, and I guess, yeah, that would be the in the near future.
So what words of encouragement would you give to maybe a student who's a little bit hesitant to speak out or speak their mind? What would you say to them?
I'd say, look, you have a right to speak freely. We live in Canada, and as far as I'm concerned, this is the greatest country in the world. We haven't been able to see that as of late because of our federal and arguably, I mean, Ontario's been a mess. I mean, it's been a joke under Doug Ford, and I mean, Trudeau. Obviously, we don't have to get into that. I think we all know where I stand on that. But we live in Canada. This is the land of the free. We need to stand up for our rights, and especially if you want to speak your mind, you have every right to do so, whatever is on your mind. And I think that is a fundamental right that needs to be respected. Not People shouldn't be fearful, especially not students or children younger than me. You need to speak your mind, because that is one of the few human rights that you were born with. It's innate. It's not something that someone can take from you because they decided that they don't like what you're saying. I would tell them to speak freely, speak loud, and always try and back up what they're saying with some kind of logical or rational argumentation or reasoning behind it. Be able to make sure you're able to explain your position, explain how you feel and why you feel it. Because there's a lot of talking heads out there, people who say something, don't know why they said it, don't know why they think it, but be able to explain your position rationally, and you'll have a lot more people listening to you and agreeing with you. And that's something I've seen myself. But yeah, just speak your mind. What you can say is especially in situations like these, it only does, it can't hurt, it can only help. So and make sure people know that you have this right to speak freely. It's not something people can take from you.
Well said. Sheldon, did you have anything else that you wanted to add?
Nothing that I've written down or comes to mind. No, really well said. I'll say that again. And yeah, it's been wonderful talking to you, and I feel like I'm getting to learn from you at the same time too, because there's a lot of great points been made. And so we thank you so much for coming on, taking the time out of your Sunday to chat with us, and thanks very much.
No, thank you guys. I appreciate you guys are awesome. You guys are doing incredible work, and I look forward to getting to know you guys better, and hopefully doing some work in the future.
So where can people find you on Twitter, or if they want to contact you, if they're Wilfrid Laurier students, or yeah, where can people find you?
On Twitter, it's Cam_Bach. So KAM_BACH. At Laurier, I would say just shoot me a message. I'm in the library all the time, so maybe if you want to talk to me, find me there. But yeah, just shoot me a message probably, and I'll definitely get back in touch, and we'll have a chat, especially if you're in Toronto or in Waterloo. Like, I'm from Toronto, but I go to school in Waterloo, so definitely get in touch with me, and I'd love to collaborate or work with anyone who any like-minded people that want to try and stand up.
Amazing. Well, thank you for taking the time and talking to us. We always appreciate it.